Here's what's making news now around Indiana. In Fort Wayne, more uncertainty around the proposed $440 million Electric Works mixed-use development project. Developers of that project, RTM Ventures, had asked for $23 million in advanced funding from its public financing partners, including the city of Fort Wayne. That request, though, was denied. RTM says that denial changes nothing with its plans, which they say they're going to move forward on. A new title for the leader of the University of Notre Dame's already thriving innovation and entrepreneurship program. An Illinois couple contributing $5 million to endow an associate provost position. The gift from John and Kathy Martin will allow Vice President Brian Ritchie to also hold the title of John and Kathy Martin Associate Provost for Innovation. Notre Dame's Idea Center has launched some 62 startup companies. 11 counties in southern Indiana will soon get an economic boost. The Indiana Uplands, a region that includes Bloomington, French Lick, and Bedford, has been named the state's third 21st century talent region, which is reserved for Hoosier communities working to attract, develop, and connect talent, working together to do that. Focus areas also include increasing the number of college graduates and narrowing the gap for disadvantaged across the region. Well, 2019 is quickly drawing to a close. State legislators looking ahead at priorities for the 2020 Indiana General Assembly. Here now with some perspective and a look at some of the top priorities when it comes to economic development. Pleased, as always, to be joined by Ginovus Executive Managing Director Larry Gigerich. Larry, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Gary.
As always, and I should say congratulations off the top. Named recently the Indiana Chamber's Volunteer of the Year.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Very noteworthy and worthy recognition. Okay, let's get to the top economic development topics. There are lots we can talk about. One of them, regional economic development and these so-called regional innovation hubs.
Yeah, I think as you look at businesses and in particular look at communities, it's done on a regional basis today, as we all know. And really it's about pursuing talent. And investments in quality of place are tied very closely to talent attraction and retention. So regional innovation hubs is a way or a vehicle to help accomplish that goal.
Yeah, and it was introduced, I think, last year. Went to a study committee. We'll be back at the State House this year. What are some examples of maybe some things that other communities around the country have done in that regard? Yeah,
there's a couple of really good examples. One would be in Oklahoma. They allowed a local option sales tax to be implemented in Oklahoma City called their MAPS program. For 25 plus years, they've invested in quality of place projects. And then the state of Texas also allowed a local option sales tax that could be used for quality of place and economic development projects. So there's a couple really good models out there to look at.
All right, here's an interesting one. Reduce or eliminate professional licensing requirements that hinder talent attraction for out-of-state candidates. Doesn't sound real exciting, but it's kind of a hot button issue.
It is, especially in a world where there's so many more professional, technical, and scientific jobs, and we need to eliminate all the barriers we can on licensing when people move here to make it easy. And there's been some really good examples, including Arizona, around the country. And Governor Holcomb, to his credit, he and his team are moving on this issue, but there's some things the legislature can do to really make a difference.
We talk so much about talent, and there are a number of issues around that, but as you look at issues at the State House that can address that and that talent attraction and the ability for any, there are more job openings than job seekers, how we get at that issue.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that are there. Certainly, the Next Level Jobs program has been a good start to identify high demand, high skilled jobs that also pay very well and coming up with pipeline development there. I think the other thing is continuing that dialogue between higher education and the business community to make sure that needs are being met and being met quickly, because it can take a while to catch up and we have to be very nimble in this economic environment.
Yeah, one more I'll throw at you, Larry, and that's the pursuit and implementation of a more diversified energy policy.
Yeah, I think as you look at the Midwest as a whole, we've been more reliant on coal to generate electricity, and our utilities have begun to move away from that to things that are more sustainable. But for the long term, we still have work to do there, and we need to make sure we have a reliable, diverse source of energy that is still cost effective for us to compete economically.
Yeah, looking ahead to 2020, crystal ball, how do you look at next year for economic development? A lot of talk about maybe a slowdown in the economy.
Yeah, I think there'll be some slowdown next summer just because of the presidential election year. We typically see that. But I will tell you, the momentum we have seen as a firm over the last 60 days has been really intense. If there's any softening at all, it's just a little bit on the manufacturing side, but that's really it at this point.
All right, Larry Gigerich from Ginovus, as always, some great perspective. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Gary.